Good morning, everyone. A couple of years back, our house was flooded in the night, and I had to take my children to my friend's house for safety. And as we moved to a new house, we were given an assurance that that house would not be flooded. But each time it rained, I would panic, and each time I heard the sound of thunder, I would go into a panic mode. And this kept me from doing the chores that I had to do, and it kept me from having a peaceful sleep. So today I would like to share my thoughts on fear. What is fear? According to Cambridge Dictionary, it's an unpleasant thought or emotion that you have when you're frightened or worried by something dangerous, painful, or bad that is happening or might happen. So today I would like to share with you about two people and how they dealt with their fear. The first one I would like to share with you is about the 10 spies. God had asked Moses to send 12 spies to spy on the land of Canaan. And Moses sent 12 of them, and they went to spy on the land of Canaan and bring some produce for the Israelites to see. So these 10 people went there spying for 40 days, and we know the whole story. And we read in Numbers 13 verse 23 that 2 men had to carry a single cluster of grapes on a pole along with pomegranate and figs. That was the kind of produce that the land of Canaan was having. And that was the land God was leading them to, a land flowing with milk and honey. But when the time came for them to give a report, we go on to read that they gave a report stating that the people were powerful and the cities were fortified and large. And we go on to read that in verse 31, they finally say, "We cannot attack these people. They are stronger than us." They had failed to see the God who had been leading them. These are the 10 spies who had seen God bring them out of Egypt, who had seen God part the Red Sea. These are the 10 spies who had seen God give them water from the rock. These are the 10 spies who had seen God give them food in the desert. These are the 10 spies who had seen the mighty hand of God in Egypt until now. But at this very moment when God had called them, they had refused and they had rebelled and refused to trust on God and do what He had commanded them to do. And we see the consequences of this. These people could not enter the promised land. Only Joshua and Caleb could enter the promised land. The other example that I would like to bring to you is Gideon. When the angel of the Lord met Gideon, Gideon was in the wine press threshing the wheat. He was a very scared man, and it was natural for him to be afraid of the Midianites who were raiding the Israelites every now and then. When he was hiding, when he was afraid, the angel of the Lord addresses him as mighty warrior. And when God tells him to deliver Israelites, we see Gideon telling, how can he do that when he was the least in his family and his clan was the weakest in the tribe of Manasseh? And God is patient with Gideon when he tells God his fear, and God is listening to him. And though Gideon tested God not once but thrice, God was patient with him. And we read in Judges chapter 6 verse 15, the Lord answered, "I will be with you and you will strike down the Midianites." So God gave him the assurance, and with this assurance we see Gideon deliver Israelites from the Midianites. Though Gideon was afraid, all he decided to do was he decided to hide his fear and do what he had commanded him to do. He decided to lean on God and do exactly what God had commanded him to do. God is patient with us, and as we go through a pandemic, we have our own fears. Fear of maybe losing a job, fear of pay cut, and fear of our children's future. But God is patient with us. God is willing to listen to us. He understands our fears, our anxious thoughts. And God is there telling us, giving us an assurance, do not be afraid, I will be with you. And we read in Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you." God is a God who doesn't just say, "Do not be afraid." He goes on to say, "I will be with you. I will strengthen you to go through the situation that you are going through." Fear is natural. Fear we all have. But that's an antidote for fear. And the antidote is to trust. So when we trust God, we can be at peace. When we trust God, we can move forward in faith. And when we trust God, we need not be afraid of what tomorrow holds. Someone said beautifully, "I have made God the end of all my fears." So whatever our fears are, let us make God the end of our fears. And I would like to conclude with a few lines that I had written. Fear of tomorrow deprives me of today's peace. Fear of tomorrow debars me from taking the steps of faith. Fear of tomorrow denies me from trusting Him. So let's keep our fear aside and let's enjoy today's peace. Let's take the step of faith and let's learn to trust Him more and more and lean on Him. So whatever our fear is, let's put them aside, let's trust God, and let's lead a victorious life. Thank you. God bless you.
My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. The mountains are His, the rivers are His, the stars are His handiwork too. My God is so big, so strong